Hello friends, this is part 14 of the application development series, and this session is about simple HTML form validation. So basically JavaScript is used for processing the input and complex form validations. For example, if you want to say that you are having two fields with user ID and password, and user ID has to be at least 8 characters long, or the password should have at least 8 characters with one capital letter and at least one special character, then these validations are done by JavaScript, right? We'll cover those complex validations in our upcoming JavaScript sessions. But with HTML also, we can do simple validations like if you want this field is required. I mean, if user ID is there and it is required, then you can use required attribute. Okay, let us see that with an example. So this was our last example. There was an input, user ID, password, and a submit button. If we see it at live server or the server, this is what we see. Notice this, I mean, I can easily submit, right? There is no validation coming, like if I have not entered any user ID or password, and after pressing the submit button it's not saying okay, you should enter user ID and password. Okay, so how can I do that? I should simply, as I said in the slide, there's a required attribute. Okay, so just by using this required attribute you can set it true also, but it's not required. If you are making it required, it means it is a required field. Okay, save it and see on the web page. Now you are not if you don't submit, then browser gives you a message like please fill out this field. Okay, so if you enter the user ID Manoj, for example, and you are not entering the password, then it's processing it. Okay, similarly you can put a validation on password as well. So I'll add the required attribute to here as well. Okay, save it and see the changes now. If I am not submitting, first it is asking me to fill out this field user ID. After filling out user ID, it is asking me to fill out the password. Okay, only after filling both fields it is allowing me to submit. Okay, there are other validations like email validations also you can do, right? So just change the type from text to email. I mean, it has to be email field, right? Email field and required is true. So since you have changed the type to email and it is required, that means you should enter a valid email format, right? So let us see an example again. Save the changes, and so this is the user. I'll change the placeholder to enter email so that it's not confusing. Okay, save the changes and see enter email and enter password. So if I say Manoj and press submit, please include an at the rate field in the email address. Okay, if I simply take at the rate, then still it's not a complete email address. Please enter part after at the rate is incomplete, right? So Manoj at the rate gmail.com. If I say like that, it will take it, and now you have to enter this field. Okay, so this is how the simple HTML validation can be done. Of course, there are a lot more complex validations like if there is street number or it's a phone number, its format has to be this. If it's state code, its format has to be like this. Okay, or if you are having so I mean you are having so many controls, so many inputs with you, so it combination could be there of the validation. So these validations are done in JavaScript. Okay, this is for the, I mean, this comes in handy. This required attribute comes in handy when you want, okay, with a very on the fly validations. So in that case this is used when we start our JavaScript sessions. In those sessions we will deeply study about the form, the input processing and forms validations. Okay, so in the next session we'll learn about drop down list. We have not discussed yet about drop down list, and we have studied a bit about radio buttons, but we'll study further. Like we were able to select two radio buttons at one go, right? So radio buttons are for at least, or you should choose only one option out of some choices, right? So that's it for this session, and have a great day.